This is the Learnit Lounge, a podcast brought to you by Learnit. In each episode, I sit down with HR and L&D leaders to explore how learning programs have sparked real change, unlocked growth, built trust, and transformed the way that teams work. Hosted by me, Dr. Mickey Fitch-Collins, a facilitator and learning designer at Learnit, this podcast brings you the stories behind successful learning strategies, direct from the people driving them. Learnit is a live learning platform that's helped over 2 million professionals thrive inside some of the world's most respected companies. If you're looking for a partner to help you do the same, our contact info is in the show notes. Welcome to the Learnit Lounge, where learning leads to measurable impact. Hi, everybody. Mickey Fitch-Collins here, host of the Learnit Lounge, and I'm coming at you today with a hot take about trust and how trust builds into boosting our relationships. Because here's the gig. Trust isn't something that's declared. It's signaled every single day in small ways. In our world, the world of human resources, learning and development, people operations, the world of people leadership, we talk a ton about relationships. We talk about it with stakeholders. We talk about it with learners. We talk about it with partners across the business. And while I think most of us can agree that trust is absolutely foundational to any meaningful relationship that we have, we oftentimes assume that trust is built through intentions or good work alone. But there's a huge problem with that. Trust isn't measured by effort. Nobody gets an A for effort in the trust class. It's perceived through the signals. We may think we're building trust, but if our actions signal inconsistency, vague, self-protection, people aren't going to feel it. And in a world where influence oftentimes depends on relationships, in fact, we talk about this in Influence Without Authority, the number one thing for you to do to build influence is to work on your relationship with that other person, right? So in a world where influence depends on those relationships, feeling it matters more than ever. Again, trust is not a declaration. It is a series of cues repeated over time. So here's some powerful trust signals that you can adopt and you can start acting on. First and foremost, and most importantly, follow through. Do what you say you're going to do. It is not about perfection. It is about reliability. Follow through. Number 2, proactive updates. Instead of sending oh, hey, I'm not going to be able to get this done. I know that it's due in about a half an hour. Sending a quick, here's where we're at note before somebody else asks or before they're looking for the update. What that does is it builds a sense that you're thinking ahead with them instead of reacting to them. The third signal that you can focus on is having clear boundaries. This is something I will tell you, I have gotten some pushback over the years around the boundaries, particularly since I became a mom, that I have put into place. But communicating your capacity, communicating your boundaries, communicating your expectations, your work hours, your limitations. Boundaries, here's the gig with those. Boundaries signal, I have self-awareness. And that self-awareness and signaling that self-awareness increases credibility. Credibility increases trust. Number 4, listen without solving. Just the other day, I was facilitating our Make Listening Your Superpower workshop, and I once again said that most important phrase, listen to understand, not to respond. And one of the learners said, but the problem is every single one of our jobs is to find solutions to problems every single day. That's what I'm paid to do. And I said, well, here's the thing. When you truly listen to a stakeholder's concern without jumping to fix it, what you're doing first is you're demonstrating your good listening skills. What you're doing second is you're validating the reality as normal. You're showing respect and care. You're showing that you see them, you see their issue, you can empathize with that issue or problem, and you're not just here to be Mr. or Mrs. Fix-It. The 5th signal that you can send to build trust, to signal trust, is consistency in your tone. If you're upbeat one day, super reactive and angry the next day, people are going to start questioning your stability, right? Predictability in our behavior is a huge trust signal. Organizations and leaders that are volatile with their emotional leadership One day are super excited about things. Next day are putting a ton of pressure on people. The next day after that, telling you the best thing ever. The next day after that, being angry at other folks, right? That instability breaks trust immediately. Predictability is a trust signal. On the flip side, here are a couple of those subtle ways that we probably accidentally erode trust. It's the flip side of this. Number one, delayed responses, especially when those stakes are high. If you don't get back to somebody, if you just think, well, if I be silent, then everything's going to be okay, not good. Over promising and under delivering and doing so just to please that other person. If we do that just to appease them, just to make them happy, just to think that, oh, they're going to be able to get all of this stuff done, but it turns out that we overpromise and we underdeliver, absolutely going to break trust. Number three, unclear decision making. If people can't tell you what matters to them, if you can't tell them what matters to you, if you can't clearly tell people, these are the three things that I took into account to make this decision. Here's the different factors that I weighed and why. That lack of clarity around decision making is going to absolutely break people's perception of you. It is absolutely going to break and erode people's trust in you. Fourth and final thing that erodes trust is withholding context. When we don't give people details, when we withhold information, what we're doing is we're creating an in-group and an out-group. Well, some of us, this team, all of this sort of stuff is exclusionary behavior. It doesn't send the message of us is us. I once worked with a senior leader who was pretty skeptical of the work that I was doing in the department that I was running. And he had seen kind of too many flavor of the month sort of things over his years. And he didn't want fluff. Okay. I knew that I was going into a situation that I needed to do a lot to build that relationship with him. I knew I was walking into a situation where he automatically was looking at the work that my department did and he was saying, no, no, no. So instead of trying to convince him, yes, 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 what I did was I signaled consistency. I sent a short update to him every single week. What were some of the wins that were going on? What were some of the blocks? What was coming next? Some of you might be familiar with our 3 Ps of progress reporting: plans, problems, and progress. I showed up to every single meeting with one key question that I prepared, something that I knew that he would have some interesting insights on to be able to get that conversation going. And the other thing that I did, and this was a pretty big one, is I didn't try to impress him with bravado. I didn't bring big language. I didn't bring big research. I didn't prepare binders of information to drown him in a whole bunch of data and nonsense. I just used clear, plain speech. I used stories. About 6 weeks in to me working on this project, we were getting together for one of those check-ins, and he said, you're the only department head that I never have to chase. You're the only department head that I never wonder what's going on. You're the only one that is giving me information voluntarily instead of me asking for it. Now, some of us might look at that and say, ooh, what a compliment on deliverables. I'm awesome. But this was really a signal of recognition of trust. So here's the big takeaway. Trust isn't built in these big moments. It's built in the repeated signals over time. And here's how to start. Pick just one trust building habit. It could be a weekly update. It could be a feedback loop. It could be a calendar block for checking in with certain stakeholders. Just pick one of those. And ask a close partner, a colleague, whomever this is, what's something that I do that builds trust with you? And what could I do more of? And listen. Audit your own default signals. What do you think that you're saying? And what might other people actually be receiving? In our workshops, in our engagements, in the coaching that we do in the world of learning and development, we teach learners that behavior shapes perception. It's time for us to apply the same lens to our own work. If this solo episode gave you a new lens and a new way of looking at things, please go ahead and subscribe to the Learnit Lounge. And go ahead and head over to LinkedIn and connect with me over there. Let me know, send me a message. What's one trust signal that you want to send more consistently starting today?